Tonight, we're going to start with some serious information. I think it's pretty well known the Middle East is a mess. Airstrikes and missile barrages in Gaza and in Lebanon, attempts at a ceasefire and diplomatic gridlock, all part of it. Lurking under all of it, moving in the shadows, is the specter of Iran, which is funding and supplying its allies and proxies, Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, the Houthis in Yemen, and others. One man who understands the various forces at play is our guest tonight, Elliott Abrams. Mr. Abrams has served in top foreign policy positions under Presidents Reagan, Bush, 43, and Donald Trump. He's a senior fellow at the Council of Foreign Relations, author of a new book, If You Will It, Rebuilding Jewish Peoplehood for the 21st Century. A pleasure to welcome back to the show, Elliott Abrams. Elliott, I want to begin by talking about a remarkable moment this week. President Trump made the statement, it was a bold one, that if the hostages being held by Hamas are not released by the time he's sworn in, as he said, there will be hell to pay, and there will be a blow up in the Middle East like they've never seen before. That's a sharp contrast from Joe Biden's almost not acknowledging that we had hostages and that we didn't hardly ever hear Joe Biden talk about that 7 of those hostages were American citizens. Was this the right way to just serve notice to Hamas that Barney Fife is gone and Wyatt Earp is coming?
I think it was. I think the Biden policy has been to say to the Israelis, don't do this and don't do that and hold off and stand back. And it's been a policy of restraining them rather than threatening Hamas. And it hasn't worked. The proof is in the pudding. So I think what President Trump is doing is much more likely to have an impact on Hamas. As you said, there really is a new sheriff in town. The Iranians know it, Hamas knows it, Hezbollah knows it, and I think, we can't predict that they're going to just release the hostages tomorrow morning, but this is the way to do it. Increase the pressure on them.
For many of us, the only gold maybe that one owns is in a ring or a necklace or a bracelet. But for investment purposes, owning gold and silver really do make a lot of sense. And not just for jewelry, but for a hedge against inflation and to have something that always has value, always has, always will. I buy physical gold and silver from American Hartford Gold. It's the one and only precious metals company that I personally recommend and that I trust well enough to buy from. If you call or text to American Hartford Gold, they'll send you a free, no-strings-attached gold and silver information kit. You'll learn how to protect your own nest egg with a tax-advantaged gold IRA. And you could get up to $15,000 of free silver on qualifying purchases. Call them, 844-417-1010, or text Mike to 998899 for a free information kit from American Hartford Gold. Well, by the way, I got to tell you, I am a huge dog lover. I tell people I wouldn't live in a world without dogs, and I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely ecstatic that you have your dog with you. He may be my favorite guest on this program that we've ever had, and I love it that he is just comfortably enjoying his slumber, as dogs should do. But thank you for bringing him, because he makes the world a better place, as all dogs do. Now I'll get to the serious question. It's one of the reasons, Elliott, I knew I liked you, but it went up several notches when you brought your dog to work, because I like to keep mine around me whenever possible. Let's move to the discussion, though. You've served under presidents who took the policy and the position that America is a strong country and we don't act weak. If you kick us in the shin, we don't go running and curl up in a fetal position. We come back and kick way, way harder. And it seems to have been a very different approach that you've just mentioned with the Biden administration. They've put more pressure on Israel, for heaven's sakes, to have a ceasefire than they have to get the hostages out. And as you remarked, it just hasn't worked. Do the world leaders understand what a difference we're about to see in Donald Trump versus Joe Biden?
I think they do understand it because, of course, this is his second term. So they've had some experience with this. It worked for President Reagan. I mean, he pushed back against the Iranians. At one point, he sank about half their navy in 1988. Just take the Houthis, who you mentioned, an Iranian proxy group in Yemen. They are shooting Iranian missiles at American Navy ships just about every day. People sometimes in newspapers say Houthi missiles. There are no Houthi missiles. They're a kind of primitive group. These are Iranian missiles. You know that the head of CENTCOM several months ago said to Washington, American sailors are going to die if one of those missiles hits an American naval ship. We've been lucky so far. We've been able to shoot them out, shoot them down in the air, but your luck can run out. Donald Trump is a guy who once, I know this from personal experience, told the Iranians, this is 2020, if one of your missiles kills an American, if one of your proxy groups kills an American, we're going to hit you, not these proxies someplace, you, Iran. There was an immediate 90% drop in the attacks on Americans in Iraq and Syria. So Trump knows how to deal with them. And it worked. It worked in 2020. It worked for Reagan. And it will work again for Trump. And as you said, the Biden administration, remember, Iran attacked Israel the first time. What did Biden say? Take the win. They didn't kill anybody. Take the win. The notion that you have to hit back harder, it just doesn't seem to be in Biden's makeup. And foreign governments know that, just as they know Trump is a very different president.
Personal safety has become a major concern. So wouldn't it be helpful to have a new and easy way to protect you and your loved ones? Well, one way to stop the threat without having to shoot and possibly kill someone is available. Hello, I'm Mike Huckabee, and I found exactly how to have full protection without lethal force. It looks like a gun, acts like a gun, but it shoots chemical irritants and kinetic rounds, not actual bullets. The name is Byrna, B-Y-R-N-A. Now imagine being able to protect yourself without the legal or moral concerns of carrying an actual firearm. The Byrna is legal in all 50 states. No background checks are required, and it can be shipped directly to your doorstep. Most importantly, it's built to immediately stop an attacker without taking a life. The peace of mind you have is free. It's easy to use and doesn't have the strong recoil that real guns have, and you don't need ear protection either. It's assembled by hand right here in the U.S., fully trusted by law enforcement, and oftentimes it only needs to be shown and not fired to turn an attacker away. Don't wait until something happens. Go to Byrna.com/Huckabee. Learn more about this effective alternative to deadly force. 500,000 out there are already in use. Right now, you'll get a special 10% discount as well. That's Byrna, Byrna.com/Huckabee. Don't feel vulnerable any longer.